I thank him for his kind words addressed to me, and I give the floor to the distinguished Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs for Ethiopia.
Mr. President, I would like to join previous speakers in expressing my pleasure in seeing you preside over this session, which marks another important turning point in the Council's consideration of the situation between Iraq and Kuwait. I also wish to seize this opportunity to assure you of my delegation's full cooperation in the discharge of your heavy responsibilities at this important meeting of the Council. Mr. President, in another era, at another place, nations of the world met to deliberate upon a blatant aggression perpetrated by an expansionist state against a weak and defenseless people. The time was 55 years ago, and that defenseless people was none other than my own, the Ethiopian people, which had to appeal to the League of Nations to apply its own principles and take a stand against the aggression. Historical records clearly show the serious failure of the League of Nations to act in defense of its own covenant, thus letting brute force to triumph, however briefly, over morality and legality. With the benefit of hindsight, it is often asserted, perhaps rightly too, that had the League of Nations acted more forcefully and in unison at that critical time in defense of the international legality, the course of history would have been different, and very probably the world could have been spared the destructions and terrible tragedy of the Second World War. So, when Iraq launched its naked and unprovoked aggression against small Kuwait, we in Ethiopia saw clearly the danger of history repeating itself and were able to relate easily the plight of the Kuwaiti people to that faced by us in 1935. That the Ethiopian government acted promptly in condemning that blatant aggression and in supporting collective action in this Council, therefore, was in no small measure a reflection of our own historical experience. It was also meant to signal that in the 1990s, the international community must not repeat the mistakes of the 1930s. Mr. President, almost 4 months have elapsed since the invasion of Kuwait. During these 4 months, numerous diplomatic efforts have been undertaken to resolve the crisis peacefully. However, the peaceful measures taken so far, including economic sanctions, have not produced the desired results since the occupation of Kuwait still continues. Indeed, the various resolutions adopted so far do not appear to have convinced Iraq of the seriousness and determination of the international community, which has waited patiently to see the return of the Gulf situation to the status quo ante. Although the patience of the world community is running out and hopes for a peaceful resolution of the crisis are diminishing, the Council, in reaffirmation of its objective to settle the problem peacefully, is once again meeting today to resolve and provide Iraq one more chance to mend its way and respect the will of the international community. Many have argued, with good intentions I must say, that the international community must wait still longer before considering additional measures. But we have learned from experience that economic sanctions could have effect only with the passage of time, and even that could be achieved only with complete and universal compliance. More importantly, the people of Kuwait rightfully demand the immediate restoration of their sovereignty. We must not, therefore, wait much longer, for justice delayed, as is often said, could very well be justice denied. We owe it not only to the Kuwaiti people, but also to ourselves to live up to our commitment to help end the occupation of Kuwait by Iraq and thereby fulfill our obligations to the preservation of international peace and security. Mr. President, Ethiopia, as you all know, is located not far from the Arabian Peninsula and the Persian Gulf, and as a result is seriously concerned both about the current crisis as well as its long-term impact. We believe that it would not be too early to start thinking about a post-Iraqi withdrawal scenario leading to the establishment of durable stability, peace and security in the region, to obviate the possibility of hegemonistic regimes again trying to threaten their peaceful neighbors, particularly small and weak ones. We must also reaffirm and strengthen our determination to work towards lasting peace and stability in the entire region. Mr. President, my delegation will vote in favor of the draft resolution before the Council to underscore our determination that aggression should be thwarted and not